A little girl was too scared to dance, until a stranger's hug changed her life and brought a billionaire father to tears. The hall was filled with laughter, soft lights, and the sweet smell of flowers. Parents were finding their seats, holding cameras and phones, waiting for their little girls to dance. It was the annual school recital, a day every child had practiced for weeks. In the front row sat Ethan Cole, a man known to the world as one of the richest businessmen in the city. But right now, he wasn't thinking about money, business, or meetings. His attention was only on his daughter, Lily. Lily was only 8 years old. Wearing a beautiful pink tutu, her hair tied in a neat bun with a white ribbon, she looked like a tiny fairy standing among her friends backstage. Her small hands kept pulling at her dress, and her lips trembled slightly. It was her first time dancing in front of a big crowd, and she was nervous. She could hear the noise of people talking, laughing, and the sound of chairs moving. The noise made her heart beat faster. Ethan smiled when he saw her peek from behind the curtain. He waved and gave her a thumbs up, hoping it would make her feel brave. Lily smiled weakly and waved back, but deep inside she felt scared. She had practiced for this moment every single day at home. Ethan had even built her a small dance studio in her room, with mirrors and a wooden floor. But now, when it was time to perform, everything she had learned seemed to vanish. The lights dimmed. The music started. The other girls ran to the stage, forming a neat line. The audience clapped. Ethan's eyes searched for Lily, but she didn't move. She stood frozen near the curtain, gripping her skirt tightly. Her breathing was fast, and tears slowly filled her eyes. The teacher whispered from behind, "Go on, Lily, it's your turn." But her feet felt heavy, like they were stuck to the floor. She wanted to move, but her body refused. The other children started dancing, twirling and smiling brightly, following the rhythm. The teacher tried signaling to Lily again, but she just shook her head slightly, her whole body trembling. The crowd started noticing the missing dancer. Some parents whispered softly, pointing toward the side of the stage. Ethan's heart sank. He leaned forward, his face full of worry. He wanted to run up there and help her, but he couldn't. It was her moment, and she had to face it herself. But watching her stand there, scared and alone, broke something inside him. This was the same little girl who used to run around the house, singing and dancing without a care in the world. But ever since his wife had passed away 2 years ago, something in Lily had changed. She became quiet, shy. Afraid of attention, Ethan had tried everything to bring back her joy. Dance classes, therapy, family trips, but nothing worked. Now, as he watched her on that stage, his eyes filled with tears. He would have given up all his wealth just to see his daughter dance happily again. The teacher walked closer to Lily and whispered something. But Lily shook her head and took a step back. She looked out at the sea of faces, all eyes staring, and panic rose inside her chest. Her throat tightened, her knees felt weak, and her small hands started shaking even more. The music continued, but she didn't move. The teacher finally stepped aside, unsure what to do, and then, in the corner of the hall, someone else noticed what was happening. Near the refreshment stall stood a young waitress named Anna. She had been serving drinks and snacks to the guests since morning. Her clothes were plain, her apron had small stains from coffee spills, and her hair was tied back carelessly. She wasn't part of the event, just hired to help. But when she saw the little girl standing alone and trembling, something deep inside her stirred. Anna had seen fear like that before. She knew what it was like to freeze in front of people, to feel the weight of everyone's eyes, to want to disappear. She remembered being a child herself, too scared to speak up or stand in front of others. She looked at the little girl, and her heart softened. She glanced around. No one else seemed to move. Everyone was whispering, waiting for someone to fix it. But Anna couldn't just stand there. She set down the tray she was holding, wiped her hands on her apron, and walked quietly toward the stage. Ethan noticed her as she moved. For a second, he frowned, confused. Why was a waitress walking toward the dancers? But before he could stop her, Anna gently climbed the small stairs to the stage. The audience gasped softly. The teacher looked surprised, unsure whether to stop her. But Anna's face was calm and kind. She knelt beside Lily and spoke softly, her voice barely reaching beyond the stage. "Hey, sweetheart," she whispered. "It's okay. You don't have to be afraid." Lily looked up, her eyes wide with tears. She didn't know this woman, but something about her voice felt safe. "I used to be scared too." Anna continued with a small smile. "When I was your age, I couldn't even raise my hand in class. But you know what helped me?" Lily blinked, sniffing, trying to listen. "Someone told me that courage doesn't mean not being scared. It means doing it even when you are," Anna said softly. "How about we dance together for a minute?" Lily hesitated. Her eyes moved to the crowd, then back to Anna's gentle face. Slowly, she nodded. Anna stood up, still wearing her work apron, and took Lily's small hand. The audience was silent now, watching. The music was still playing softly. Anna took a deep breath and began to move, not perfectly but gracefully, swaying to the rhythm. She smiled at Lily and lifted her hand lightly, guiding her step by step. At first, Lily moved slowly, awkwardly, but Anna kept smiling, nodding at her with encouragement. "That's it," she whispered. "You're doing great," Ethan's breath caught. He couldn't believe what he was seeing, a stranger, a waitress, helping his daughter find her courage on stage. His eyes filled with tears. Lily's fear slowly melted away. Her small feet began to move with rhythm, her body following the music. The crowd was silent, amazed at the sight, a little girl and a waitress dancing together, perfectly in tune. The other dancers continued, and soon Lily was smiling again, her eyes shining under the lights. By the end of the song, Lily twirled with grace, her laughter filling the hall. When the final note played, the audience burst into applause, louder than before. Lily ran to Anna and hugged her tightly, hiding her face in her shoulder. Anna hugged her back, whispering something softly that only Lily could hear. From the front row, Ethan wiped his tears, unable to look away. He didn't know who the waitress was or why she had stepped in, but in that one small moment, she had done something he couldn't. She had brought his daughter's light back, as the applause continued. Anna slowly stepped off the stage, blending back into the crowd like nothing extraordinary had happened. But for Ethan and Lily, that moment was everything. It was the start of something that would change all their lives forever. Anna stood beside the stage, her heart still beating fast from what she had just done. She had stepped up without thinking, only because she couldn't bear to see the little girl cry. Now, as she looked at Lily smiling shyly after the dance, something warm filled her heart. She hadn't planned to be part of this moment, but it felt like she was meant to be there. The applause slowly faded, and the next group of children started preparing to perform. Anna quietly walked back to her place near the refreshment stall, trying not to draw attention. But people noticed. Parents whispered to each other, some smiling, some surprised. "Who was that woman?" one mother asked. "Was she part of the show?" Another said. Anna pretended not to hear them. She picked up her tray again and started arranging glasses. Her hands still trembling a little. She hadn't danced in years. Life had taken her down a different path. There was a time when dancing had been her dream. As a child, she had loved moving to music. She had joined a small dance school in her neighborhood. And for a few years, she had believed she would make something of it. But after her mother got sick, she had to quit everything and start working to help pay bills. Since then, dance had become a memory, something she watched, not something she did. When she saw Lily frozen on that stage, it felt like seeing her younger self scared, unsure, needing someone to say it was okay. That was why she had moved without thinking. It wasn't bravery, really. It was something that came from the heart. Ethan, sitting in the front row, was still in shock. He couldn't take his eyes off Anna. He had seen hundreds of people in his life, business partners, investors, powerful friends, but no one had ever done something that touched him this deeply. She had walked up in front of a crowd, risking embarrassment just to help his daughter. No cameras, no fame, no reward, just kindness. When the recital ended, Lily ran straight into his arms, laughing through her tears. Ethan hugged her tightly, closing his eyes. "You are amazing, sweetheart," he whispered. "I'm so proud of you." Lily smiled up at him, her cheeks glowing. "Daddy, she helped me," she said, pointing toward the back of the hall. "The lady with the apron? She made me brave." Ethan looked up, trying to find her, but Anna was gone. She had quietly slipped outside, not waiting for attention or thanks. He wanted to run after her, to thank her. But there were too many people, too many parents crowding around, congratulating him and Lily. Outside, Anna took off her apron and sat on the small bench near the parking lot. The cool evening air brushed against her face. She looked up at the dark sky and smiled to herself. She didn't know why she felt so emotional. Maybe it was because of the little girl's hug. Maybe it was because, for the first time in years, she had felt that her actions truly mattered. As she sat there, her manager came out. "Anna, there you are. They're all talking about you inside. You just became the hero of the night." Anna laughed softly and shook her head. "I didn't do anything big. The girl just needed a friend for a moment." The manager smiled. "Well, whatever you did, it worked. That little girl looked like an angel by the end." Anna smiled faintly, but inside she felt something more, a quiet ache. Helping that little girl reminded her of everything she once dreamed of being. She had buried those dreams long ago under bills, long shifts, and exhaustion. But maybe deep down, she hadn't stopped loving dance after all. Meanwhile, inside the hall, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about her. When most of the guests had left, he asked one of the teachers if they knew the woman who had helped his daughter. The teacher shook her head. "She's not from the school. She was just hired to help with the refreshments." Ethan's heart ached. "Do you know her name?" "I think someone said her name was Anna," the teacher replied. "That's all I know, Anna," he whispered to himself. He looked around again, hoping to catch sight of her, but she was nowhere to be found. He had her name, but not her face in his mind. All he could picture was that moment when she knelt beside Lily and held her hand, the gentleness, the courage. Later that night, back at home, Lily couldn't stop talking about her. She danced around her room, telling her father every detail. She said, "Courage means dancing even when you're scared," Lily said proudly. "And I wasn't scared anymore, Daddy. Not when she was there." Ethan watched her spin around, her laughter filling the house. It was the first time in so long that he had seen her so free, so alive. He smiled, but behind his smile, he felt tears forming. "Thank you, Anna," he whispered under his breath. That night, Anna returned to her small apartment above the diner where she worked part-time. It was quiet, just the sound of traffic outside. She took off her shoes, sat on the bed, and replayed the scene in her mind, the girl's trembling hands, the moment their eyes met, and the way her fear disappeared with a simple smile. She didn't know who the man in the front row was. She didn't know that he was one of the richest men in the city. To her, he was just a father watching his daughter. She thought of her own father, who had passed away when she was a teenager. He had always told her to help people when she could, even if it was in small ways. "You never know," he used to say, "how much your kindness can change someone's world." Maybe tonight, she had done exactly that. Ethan lay awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the day. His mind kept returning to that moment when Lily froze on stage, and the stranger, who appeared like an angel and changed everything. He wished he had thanked her properly. For a man who had built empires and closed billion-dollar deals, it was strange to feel helpless about something as simple as finding a waitress to say thank you. In the days that followed, Ethan asked around. He called the school, the event organizers, even the catering company. "Do you have the contact information for the waitress named Anna?" he asked each time, but no one had any details. She had worked only that one night, then disappeared. Lily, on the other hand, started dancing every day again. She woke up early, turned on the music, and practiced in front of the mirror. Her confidence was back. She smiled more, laughed louder, and talked about her new friend often. "Do you think she'll come to my next recital?" she asked. Ethan smiled and said softly, "Maybe she will, sweetheart." Maybe she will. For Anna, life went back to normal. The next morning, she was serving breakfast at the diner, taking orders with her usual smile. But something inside her had changed too. She felt lighter, happier. Like a forgotten part of her heart had started beating again. She dn't know it yet. But her small act of kindness had left a deep mark on Ethan and Lily's lives. And soon, that simple moment of compassion would bring their worlds together again, in a way none of them could have imagined. The sound of the music still echoed in Ethan's mind as he drove home that night. Every time he blinked, he could see Anna holding Lily's hand, the two of them dancing together under the soft lights. It felt unreal, almost like a dream he didn't want to wake up from. His daughter had smiled again, truly smiled after so long. For 2 years, since his wife passed away, that smile had disappeared. But one stranger, one simple hug, had brought it back. Lily sat beside him in the car, holding the small bouquet she had received after the show. Her eyes were glowing, her cheeks pink. "Daddy," she said softly, "did you see how she helped me?" Ethan smiled, his throat tightening. "I saw, sweetheart. She was very kind." "She wasn't scared at all," Lily said, hugging the flowers close. "When she held my hand, I didn't feel scared anymore. She said I just have to dance even when I'm afraid." Ethan's eyes filled with tears again. He tried to hide them by looking away toward the road. "She's right, my love. You were very brave tonight." At home, Lily couldn't stop talking. She danced in the living room, repeating the same moves again and again, laughing each time. It was the first time in so long that the house didn't feel heavy with silence. Her laughter brought warmth back to the walls. Ethan watched her from the couch, his heart full. That night, after Lily fell asleep, he sat alone in the dark, thinking. He had spent his whole life building businesses, earning money, making sure his daughter had everything she could ever need. But in that one moment, a woman who had nothing gave Lily something he never could: courage. He opened his laptop and searched the event's staff list, trying to find the name Anna. But there were no full details. Just Anna, volunteer helper, sighed. For someone like him, used to controlling everything, it was strange to not even know how to thank the person who had changed his daughter's world. The next morning, when Lily woke up, she came running into his room with a big smile. "Daddy, I had a dream about her. She said she was proud of me," she said, jumping on his bed. Ethan laughed softly. "Maybe it wasn't just a dream, sweetheart. Maybe she's still thinking about you too." Later that week, Lily's teacher called Ethan. She wanted to tell him how happy and confident Lily had been since the recital. "She's like a new child," the teacher said. "Whatever happened that night, it changed her," Ethan smiled. "It was all because of that young woman. I wish I could find her." Meanwhile, across town, Anna was back at the diner. She was serving coffee to early morning customers, wearing the same faded apron. The day after the recital had felt strangely peaceful to her. She didn't tell anyone much about what happened, only that she had helped a little girl dance again. Most people at the diner just smiled and went back to their meals. No one knew how special that moment was for her. During her lunch break, Anna sat alone at the counter, staring at her reflection in the window. She thought about Lily, her small, trembling hands, her tearful eyes, and the way she had smiled in the end. It made Anna's own eyes water. "I hope she's okay," she whispered to herself. "I hope she keeps dancing." She didn't know who the girl's father was. She didn't know she had touched the life of a billionaire, a man powerful enough to change hers too. To her, he was just another dad in the crowd, a man who loved his daughter deeply. One afternoon, a week later, Ethan decided to visit the same school again. He brought flowers for the teachers and asked around about Anna. She was working at the refreshment stall, one staff member said. Maybe she was from the catering company. Ethan immediately called the company. But they said she wasn't a full-time employee. She had only helped out for one night. Ethan frowned. "So there's no way to contact her?" The man on the phone hesitated. "No, sir. We don't keep numbers of temporary helpers." Ethan felt a strange ache in his heart. He wasn't sure why it mattered so much to him to find her, but it did. Maybe it was gratitude. Maybe it was something deeper admiration for a woman who stepped forward when no one else did. That evening, Lily showed him a drawing she made. It was a picture of her and Anna dancing on stage. Ethan smiled as he looked at it, his chest tightening again. "She's an angel, Daddy," Lily said softly. "She came when I needed her." Ethan touched her head gently. "Yes, sweetheart. Angels sometimes wear aprons instead of wings. Days turned into weeks. Life began to return to its routine. But for Ethan, the image of that night never left him. Every time he watched Lily dance or laugh, he thought of Anna. He even found himself imagining what kind of person she was. She didn't look for praise or attention, she just cared. It was something rare, something beautiful. Anna, on the other hand, continued working hard. She had 2 jobs, mornings at the diner and evenings helping at a local care home. Her life wasn't easy, but she carried a quiet strength with her. She didn't know it, but her one act of kindness had started a ripple effect. A few weeks later, Anna was cleaning tables at the diner when a small girl walked in holding a bouquet of flowers. For a moment, Anna didn't notice her. But when the little girl spoke, she froze. "Excuse me, are you Miss Anna?" Anna turned around, surprised. It was Lily. Her face lit up immediately. "Lily, oh my goodness." She knelt down, hugging her tightly. "Look at you. You came all the way here?" Lily nodded excitedly. "Daddy said we should thank you again?" She pointed toward the door, and Ethan walked in, holding a small box of chocolates and flowers. For a second, Anna didn't know what to say. Her hands tightened nervously on her apron. Ethan smiled kindly. "I've been trying to find you for weeks," he said. "You probably don't even remember me." Anna laughed softly. "Of course I do. Your daughter is very special. You changed her life that night," Ethan said sincerely. "You gave her back her courage. You gave me back my daughter's smile." Anna blushed, looking down. "I didn't do anything special. She just needed someone to believe in her for a moment." Ethan's eyes softened. "Sometimes one moment is all it takes," he said quietly. "You reminded me of that." The 3 of them sat together for a while, talking and laughing. Lily told Anna how she had been dancing every day, even at home. Anna smiled proudly, her heart full. For the first time in years, she felt like she had done something that truly mattered. Before they left, Ethan said gently, "If you ever need anything at all, please don't hesitate to call me." He handed her a small card with his number. Anna hesitated before taking it. She had never talked to someone like him before. He looked important, confident, out of her world. But his eyes were kind. As they said goodbye, Ethan turned to watch her again. The way she smiled at Lily, the way she spoke so softly. There was something special about her, something real. He didn't know it yet, but this meeting wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of something that would change all of their lives forever. When Anna closed the diner that night, she sat alone by the window, looking at the small card in her hand. She didn't know what fate had in store for her, but she couldn't stop smiling. Somewhere out there, a little girl was dancing again because of her. And for the first time in a long time, she felt proud of herself, not for surviving, but for helping someone find their light. The week after the recital, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about Anna. Every time he saw Lily practicing her dance moves in the living room, her small feet moving to the rhythm, her face lit up with joy. He remembered the moment a stranger had held her hand and made her brave. He realized that no amount of money, no fancy toys, no private tutors could have done what Anna had done in a few minutes. She had given his daughter something priceless, courage and confidence. Ethan wanted to thank her properly, but he didn't know how. The school didn't have her full contact details and the catering company had no record of her. She had disappeared after the event, quietly, like she was meant to. He tried calling the school again, asking the teachers if they knew her full name. And one finally told him she thought her name was Anna. That was all he had. Meanwhile, Anna continued her life as if nothing extraordinary had happened. She went to work at the diner each day, serving coffee and breakfast to early customers, putting on her usual smile and pretending that the recital was just another night. But deep down, she felt different. She felt lighter, happier, and more alive than she had in years. That night, when she helped Lily dance, something inside her had awakened, a part of herself that she had thought was gone forever. She had once been a dancer, full of dreams and hope, but life had taken a different path. She had given up dancing to support herself and her family. Now seeing Lily move with confidence because of her, She remembered the joy and freedom of dance, and it made her heart ache with longing. One afternoon, Ethan, unable to stop thinking about her, decided to take a chance. He left his office early, telling his assistant he had an urgent personal matter, and drove across the city. He didn't know exactly where to go, but he hoped that he might find her again. He thought of the small diner she might work at, the kind of place a person like her would be humble, quiet, not flashy, but full of life. At the diner, Anna was wiping down the counter, humming softly to herself while the smell of fresh coffee filled the room. She was wearing her plain uniform and apron, hair tied back, and a small smile on her face. It was another normal day for her, until she noticed a man standing near the door, looking around. He was well-dressed, confident, and somehow carried a presence she didn't quite understand. He approached cautiously. "Are you Anna?" he asked softly. Anna looked up, startled. "Yes, I am. Can I help you?" "I'm Ethan Cole," he said, his voice calm but with a certain warmth in it. "I'm Lily's father," Anna blinked, shocked. "Oh, Lily's dad," she said, unsure what to say. She remembered him from the recital, sitting in the front row, looking worried. And now, here he was, in her small diner. Ethan smiled, his eyes softening. "I've been trying to find you since that night. I wanted to thank you for what you did for my daughter." Anna felt her cheeks flush. I just helped her dance. That's all. She needed someone to believe in her for a minute." Ethan shook his head. "No, what you did was more than that. You gave her courage. You gave her a moment she will never forget. And you reminded me how powerful kindness can be. I want to thank you properly, if you'll allow me." Anna hesitated, unsure how to react. She had never been thanked like this before, certainly not by someone like Ethan. She looked at him quietly, trying to find the right words. I don't know what to say," she whispered. "You don't have to say anything," Ethan replied. "I just want you to know that your actions mattered. They changed our lives." Anna's mind drifted back to that night. She remembered Lily's small hands trembling in hers, the fear in her eyes, and the moment when she finally smiled. She could still see the joy on Lily's face as the audience applauded. Helping her had felt natural, almost like she was meant to be there. And now, hearing Ethan's words, she realized how much of a difference she had made. Lily, standing behind Ethan, held on to his hand. "Miss Anna," she said softly, "I've been dancing every day. I'm not scared anymore. I want to dance like you one day." Anna smiled, her heart swelling. She knelt down to Lily's level and gently held her small hands. "You are already brave, Lily. You just needed to believe in yourself. And look at you now, dancing every day." Ethan watched the interaction quietly, his heart full of gratitude. He had seen many important people in his life, business partners, investors, leaders, but no one had ever touched him the way Anna had. Her courage, her kindness, and her selflessness had done what he, with all his money and influence, couldn't. The three of them talked for a while. Anna told Lily small stories about her own childhood, about how she had loved dancing before life had made her stop. Lily listened with wide eyes, inspired by Anna's honesty and warmth. Ethan and Anna spoke quietly about the recital, how he had noticed her helping Lily, and how grateful he felt. Before leaving, Ethan handed Anna a small card with his contact information. "If you ever need anything," he said, "anything at all, please don't hesitate to call me. You have changed my daughter's life, and I want to help you in any way I can." Anna held the card in her hand, feeling the weight of it. She had never expected this. She had never thought that one simple act of kindness would bring her face to face with someone like Ethan. Her life was ordinary, filled with work and responsibility, and yet now it felt full of possibilities. She smiled softly, tears brimming in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible. As they left the diner, Ethan turned to watch her again. There was something about Anna that was unforgettable, not her beauty, not her elegance, but her heart. She had a rare ability to give courage and warmth without asking for anything in return. Ethan knew that meeting her was more than just chance. It was a moment that would change all their lives forever. Lily held on his hand tightly as they walked to the car, not wanting to let go. "I hope you come to my next recital," she said. Anna smiled. "I hope I can, Lily," I really do." That night, Anna sat alone in her small apartment, staring at the card in her hand. She thought about Lily, about how one small gesture had brought so much light into the girl's life and her own. For the first time in a long time, she felt hope. Maybe, just maybe, her dreams weren't completely gone. Maybe her life could still change in ways she had never imagined. Ethan, driving home with Lily asleep in the back seat, couldn't stop thinking about her. He realized that true wealth was not measured in money, but in moments of human kindness. And in that moment, he promised himself that he would do whatever he could to help Anna, the woman who had given his daughter the courage to dance again. The week ended. But for all three of them, life had already begun to change. Lily danced freely every day. Anna felt hope awaken inside her, and Ethan learned a lesson he would never forget, that sometimes the simplest acts of kindness can create the most extraordinary changes. And sometimes the people we least expect become the most important in our lives. The city continued with its busy rhythm, but in a small diner and in a little girl's home, a quiet story of courage, kindness, and connection was unfolding, a story that had the power to transform every heart it touched. Anna had no idea that her life was about to intertwine with Ethan and Lily in ways she could never have imagined. And Ethan knew, deep down, that finding her was only the beginning. This was no longer just about a recital or a dance. It was about people who reached out to each other in the simplest yet most powerful ways: a hug, a smile, and a belief that courage can come from anyone, anywhere, at any time. And for Ethan, Lily, and Anna, the journey was just beginning. The weeks passed quickly, and the day of Lily's next recital finally arrived. This time there was a quiet excitement in the air that wasn't there before. Lily had been practicing every day, spinning around her room, tapping her feet to the rhythm, and even helping her younger friends at school learn small dance steps. Her confidence had grown. She walked into the recital hall with her head held high. Ethan sat in the front row as always. At this time he wasn't worried. He had seen his daughter dance every day at home. He had seen her joy, her laughter, and the spark in her eyes. Today, he just wanted to watch her shine. But more than that, he wanted Anna to be there. He had invited her personally, hoping she would come and witness the difference she had made. Meanwhile, Anna had spent the morning nervously adjusting her plain dress in front of the mirror. She had never been invited to something like this before. It wasn't just any performance. This was the recital where she would see the full impact of her kindness. For weeks she had been thinking about Lily and the courage she had sparked in her little heart. She took a deep breath and decided to go. She couldn't miss this moment. As Anna entered the recital hall, she saw Lily standing backstage, quietly preparing herself. When Lily spotted her, her face lit up. She ran and hugged Anna tightly, refusing to let go. Anna hugged her back, feeling warmth fill her chest. She could feel the little girl's excitement, the nervous energy, and the anticipation of finally performing without fear. Ethan noticed the hug from the front row. His eyes filled with tears again. He had seen Anna before, but seeing her here with Lily's arms wrapped around her made his heart swell. He realized in that moment that she wasn't just a kind stranger. She had become part of their lives, part of their story. The music began, soft and gentle, and the lights shone brightly on the stage. Lily stepped forward, taking a deep breath. Anna's eyes met hers, and Lily gave a small nod. That nod carried more courage than any words could express. Anna smiled and gave her an encouraging wink. Lily's body moved with the rhythm, and she began to twirl gracefully. Her movements full of confidence. Ethan couldn't help but smile from ear to ear. For the first time, he watched without worry. Lily was not just dancing. She was telling her story through movement, showing the world that fear could be overcome. Courage could be found in the smallest moments. The audience watched in awe. Lily's friends twirled beside her, but it was her smile and confidence that captured everyone's attention. She moved with grace, her feet hitting the floor in perfect rhythm, her hands flowing in the air, and her eyes shining. She looked like she was born to dance. At the end of the performance, the applause was thunderous. Lily ran off the stage straight into Anna's arms again, laughing and crying at the same time. "I did it, Miss Anna. I wasn't scared at all," she exclaimed. Anna hugged her tightly, tears running down her cheeks. "You are amazing, Lily. I'm so proud of you. You believed in yourself, and look at what you can do." Ethan approached them slowly, trying to hold back his own tears. "Anna," he said softly, his voice trembling, "I can't thank you enough. You changed my daughter's life. You gave her the courage I couldn't. You reminded me what really matters." Anna looked at him, surprised. "I just helped her a little," she said, feeling shy under his gaze. "No," Ethan replied, shaking his head gently. "You did more than help. You gave her confidence, joy, and hope. You've changed both our lives." Then, with a small smile, he handed her an envelope. Anna hesitated, unsure what it could be. She opened it carefully and gasped when she saw the contents. It was a scholarship to the city's dance academy, a full opportunity for her to return to dance, to pursue the dreams she had left behind. Ethan had arranged it himself, wanting her to have the same gift she had given Lily, a chance to shine and follow her passion. Anna's hands trembled as she looked up at Ethan. I can't accept this," she whispered. Her voice was thick with emotion. Ethan shook his head gently. "You already earned it. The day you held my daughter's hand, you reminded her what courage is. That's priceless. You deserve this more than anyone." Lily looked up at Anna, her eyes sparkling. "You're going to dance again?" "Just like me," she said excitedly. Anna laughed, covering her mouth to hide her tears. For the first time in years, Anna felt hope fill her heart. She had worked so hard, struggled so much, and lost her dreams somewhere along the way. But now, because of a simple act of kindness, her life was changing too. She realized that sometimes life gives back exactly what you give out, even if you never expect it. The recital ended with the entire audience clapping and cheering. Lily's confidence was contagious. Parents smiled, teachers clapped proudly, and Ethan stood silently, watching the bond between his daughter and the woman who had saved her from fear. After the show, Ethan invited Anna and Lily for dinner at his house. It wasn't a fancy event, just a simple meal, celebrating courage, kindness, and the start of new beginnings. They laughed, shared stories, and talked about dance, dreams, and the future. For Ethan, it was a chance to show gratitude, not just through words, but through care and thoughtfulness. In the following weeks, Lily continued dancing every day. But now she was also learning from Anna. Anna started teaching her small dance lessons, helping her refine her steps and technique. For Anna, it felt like returning to a part of herself she had almost forgotten, the love for dance, the joy of guiding someone else, the pride of nurturing talent. Ethan watched quietly, his heart full. He realized that true wealth wasn't about money, mansions, or expensive gifts. True wealth was about moments like these: kindness, courage, love, and connection. The three of them had created something more meaningful than he had ever imagined, a bond that would last a lifetime. One evening, as they watched Lily practice a new routine in the backyard, Ethan turned to Anna. "You know," he said softly, "you've done something more than help my daughter. You've reminded me what really matters in life. You've taught me to see the world through simple acts of kindness, and I can't thank you enough for that." Anna smiled, her eyes glistening. "I didn't do it for you, Mr. Cole. I did it for Lily. And I think I needed it too." Ethan nodded, understanding exactly what she meant. Sometimes, life's greatest gifts come from helping others, from stepping forward when someone needs you most. That single moment at the recital, a hug, a hand to hold, had started a chain of events that changed all their lives forever. From that day on, their lives were intertwined. Lily danced every day, learning new moves and gaining confidence. Anna pursued her love for dance again, taking classes at the academy and teaching others. And Ethan, watching both of them, realized that money could buy many things, but it could never replace the power of courage, kindness, and human connection. The city continued its busy rhythm. But in a small house, in a small dance academy, something extraordinary had happened. A little girl who was once too scared to dance now moved with confidence and joy. A woman who had given a stranger a moment of courage found a second chance for herself. And a father, who had always wanted to protect his daughter, learned that sometimes letting someone else help can bring miracles beyond imagination. As the sun set that evening, Lily twirled one last time in the living room, her laughter filling the air. Anna stood nearby, clapping, smiling, and cheering her on. Ethan watched from the couch, tears glistening in his eyes, feeling an overwhelming sense of gratitude. It wasn't just a recital, a hug, or a small act of kindness anymore. It was life-changing, heart-touching, and unforgettable. And for all three of them, it was just the beginning of a beautiful story. One where courage, love, and kindness would continue to grow, inspire, and connect them forever. The story of that little girl, the waitress, and the billionaire dad spread quietly in their lives, touching everyone who heard it. It reminded them that even in the smallest moments, one person can change another's life, and in return, be changed themselves. And sometimes, all it takes is a hug to bring courage, hope, and dreams back to life.